yeah, it just impacts everything. So I just remember like feeling awful about my skin, and now all right. Oh my goodness. Hopefully you guys can see me and this backlight is not blowing me out. It's been raining all morning and now the sun came out, of course. Let me shine. Let me shine. The skin I am in. I just want to touch base. This is one of my biggest insecurities. I can't believe I'm going to talk about it, but listen, we're going to unburden ourselves. The thing is, when we hold on to things, our hands are full and we can't receive, right? So I'm just gonna let it all go. I'm gonna let it all go. And I do want to clarify, the purpose of these videos is for me to just unburden myself. One of you guys commented on the video about my origin story about, oh, confront your mom, and I wish you would have confronted your dad. In the English language, con means against, right? I have no reason to go against my mother, to front against basically my mom. Like, why would I question her about her 17-year-old self? Like, that would be like somebody questioning me about my 17-year-old self. Like, I'm not mad, I'm here. And to change any part of that would be to change my existence. So I'm not changing any of it. I'm just releasing the shame that I thought was mine and acknowledging that it's not mine. Anyway, we're here for the face. If you didn't see the last video, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll link it over here, wherever the links are. But yeah, my biggest insecurity has been my face, my skin. I remember when I was little, like always being told, oh, you have your dad's skin, you have that funny skin, which I think now means that I bruise easily and I scar easily. I'm not really sure what that meant, honestly. But I would have weird reactions. Like, I remember getting bitten by mosquitoes and like both my eyes being swollen shut. So obviously I'm allergic to mosquitoes. Just having like lots of little scars and nicks, and I was a tomboy, so that didn't help. But when my skin really began to bother me, and like, of course I had acne in high school. I remember going to a dermatologist. It wasn't like anything crazy. It was, you know, are the girls trying to stop me from being great? Look at this. They've been quiet all day. Look at them. We gonna keep on talking. It was nothing crazy. Then when I got pregnant with Cheyenne, I developed cystic acne. And I remember it was just like breaking out big, giant, painful pimples. I remember there was, how do I say this? What is he? He was a little boy. He's got to be a grown man now because Cheyenne's 27. But I remember him saying that my face was ugly, and like he was talking about a pimple, and his mom apologized, and she was like, what she said is, oh, you know how kids are, they always tell the truth. So was the truth that I was ugly? I just remember like that stinging feeling. And then I remember Cheyenne was born, and then her grandfather, no, it would have been her great-grandfather, her dad's grandfather passed away, and I went to the funeral and I had a pimple on my chin, and I didn't want to pop it because I was worried about scarring, and so there was like a big white, and then that became a conversation piece. So I ended up popping it just so it wouldn't be there and people would stop talking about it. Like, I took a straw and scraped it, and then it was bleeding, but it was like, I just remember those moments of pain. And then from then on, after pregnancy, I was consistent with cystic acne. I was not a biohacker yet at that point, so I didn't realize like how much my diet and my mental state, like stress levels, were impacting it. But I was like consuming high sugar. I was always on the go, similar to now, but I was fueling my body in the most inefficient way possible. But I was young and I had a high metabolism, so it wasn't like costing me anything except for my skin, which I didn't realize at the time. But then I ended up with a bunch of scarring from the cystic acne, and it continued on up well into my 30s and my 40s. Like, I finally got on Accutane. I think I was like 41, 42, somewhere around there. I got on Accutane, which was an interesting path, and it led me to my IVF unicorn, because the dermatologist that I was seeing moved to Florida, and so she recommended me to this other dermatologist, which I didn't write it down. So one of the nurses that left that other practice, Dr. Barnett's practice, actually reached out to me on LinkedIn, and she took me to Dr. Halem. So it all ended up the way it was supposed to end up, because Lord knows, I don't know where I would be on my IVF journey without her. And at that point, I had no idea that I even wanted to have kids. I thought it was laughable that they were so worried about birth control, because on Accutane you can't get pregnant because of the birth defects. I just thought that was silly. Like, I didn't even think I could get pregnant at that point. Little did I know, right before my 46th birthday, I was going to end up pregnant. But the time through all of that, through my skin, like, I've never had great skin. Let me just say that. I've never had great skin. I've always felt self-conscious about it. I remember, like, after I had Cheyenne and I was walking around, and I was haggard after I had Cheyenne. I wasn't, like, barely combing my hair. I mean, I just thought that was, like, the mom thing. I had on, like, tights or, like, stretchy clothes. I had my hair pulled back, no makeup, because I'm taking care of this child. That was, again, before I knew about self-care, any of that. Obviously, I wouldn't do that today. I know it's important to take care of myself, feel good about myself. But I went to get my hair done, and my hairdresser was Tansy, and her mom saw my face, and she was like, "You're too beautiful to walk around looking like that. Like, you need to put on some makeup." And she was talking about the scarring on my skin, because I had, at that point, just black dots where everything was. Like, it wasn't even brown, because the pimples were generating so fast that I just had black dots. So I remember my mom taking me to Fashion Fair, and I don't know if my mom agreed with her or not, but she was like, "I'm going to support you on this endeavor if you're, want to look better." But I remember going to Fashion Fair. Fashion Fair is a store, and Fashion Fair is black makeup as well. So where I came from, like in Fresno, I think Fashion Fair Cosmetics still exists, but it's also a store. So she took me to Fashion Fair in Fashion Fair, if that makes sense. And I remember they gave me this makeup. It had a spatula. This coverage. It wasn't even concealer, because my skin, the discoloration was so dark, you couldn't just put like a creamy, and again, makeup was very different then, but there wasn't like a creamy concealer. There was hardly any concealer for black people, if I'm honest. But this was like a spatula. And I just remember like filling it in and feeling like my face was like asphalt, like how you fill in potholes on the street. Like, I was filling in potholes on my face. I wasn't great at blending, and then you put makeup on top of that, and I just felt like you could see it. I didn't want to smile because I was worried like if it would crack or crease. I remember like I was still taking college I was still taking classes at the junior college. I remember there were these girls who made fun of me loudly, like fucktards. But one, how I was dressed, how my skin looked, like they just commented on how frumpy I was. They don't know I have a child at home, right? So, and nor should they have, like, it was mean. But I remember hearing it and feeling bad about it. And then, I don't know, it just carried all through life with me. Then I moved to LA. I remember going to, and I was in class at Pepperdine, and somebody was like, came up, it was actually me and this other girl they came up to, and they were like, "Oh, you should try Proactive." Just hurtful stuff. I think people are trying to be helpful, but people stare, people make inappropriate comments, inappropriate recommendations. Like, I had tried Proactive. It actually was not good for my cystic acne, and it's this not prescription, it's a subscription, so it's like $50. It was at the time, which was a lot of money for me. $50 every month to go through it, and I just wasn't seeing the results. And in a weird way, I don't even know how I like made this connection, and it just really is occurring to me now. I think I dated people who I thought might have a similar defect. Like, I felt like I was an attractive person with a defect, and so I think like I sought out attractive people with defects, if that makes sense. Like, I dated somebody else who had pockmarks. I dated somebody whose like teeth were just colored. I dated like, and it was like a specific choice of like, okay, well, they'll accept me, you know what I mean? Or not even that specific, maybe subconscious. I don't know. There was something there where I thought, well, it was always a consideration, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't ever gonna go for somebody who was just like hella fine or hella smart. And I always like, I do like smart guys. I like a little bit of a roughness in my partner. I don't know why, just a little bit of like, cause I feel like there's a little bit of roughness about me, or there was. I'm working to change that. But I do yeah, it just impacts everything. So I just remember like feeling awful about my skin, and now finally I'm taking care of it. I'm like, I have a practice, I have a routine. I started going to Dr. Halem. I feel good about my skin. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a normal person now. I don't feel like it's a conversation piece. I don't feel like people are having to overlook it, or like I have to compensate for them, because that also, I think, fed into me being a people pleaser, right? Because I saw myself as defective. And now I know I'm not. I know I'm whole. I know I'm whole just as I am. And I'm working always to be a better person. It doesn't mean I'm perfect or that I'm the best person, but I'm working to be better. But I accept myself for who I am as I am right now and on my journey. And so, yeah, the skin is just like not as big of a deal as it was. And I mean, I'm still doing like micro needling and all that other stuff. And I'll do some videos about like my skincare and my hair care, because y'all been hitting me up. But I do want to say, like, those are surface things. Like, there was healing that had to happen underneath for me to be okay with myself. And so that's kind of like where I am. So anyway, that's my insecurity. I'm just putting it all out there. My skin has been my biggest insecurity. I'm sitting here now. I just have on BB cream. I don't have on any makeup. Oh my god, the other video I did about my origin story, I just had on sunscreen, and it was like so white on that. I almost didn't post that video, but I was like, it's not about how you look, it's about the story. But anyway, yeah, so I'm a work in progress. So that's kind of like that's my truth about my biggest insecurity. And I think, my body is probably like right behind it, but I don't think that hasn't always been the case, and I'll probably do a video on that. But I was a chunky kid, and I was also told that my daddy's peoples were big people. I remember wearing husky. I didn't care. Like, I felt normal. I think I started worrying about my weight when I moved to LA. And so now I'm like trying to right those body image issues and accept all my lumps and bumps and curves, and I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like, I look in the mirror, although I had a weird dream last night about my weight, and I woke up and I was like, it was just a dream and it doesn't matter. But that'll be my next one. That's my other insecurity. But yeah, being comfortable with the skin I'm in, literally, that's what I've been working on. And so I'm a work in progress. So what about you? What are your insecurities? How are you facing them? How are you dealing with them? Let me know down below. Let's grow through this together, y'all. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.